What happens to the soul step by step, day by day, right after death? We know from the Bible that when God created human beings, He breathed the breath of life into them and placed the soul within them. We also know from Ecclesiastes that the body separates from the soul, and the body returns to the earth as it was made from dust. On the other hand, the spirit, which was breathed into the body by God, returns to God, to its fantastic Creator. But what exactly happens at the moment of death and afterward? According to Jewish mystical sources, the soul goes through a cave and has the sensation of being in a cave. At the end of this cave, there is a strong spiritual light that we will understand later. Interestingly, people who have had near-death experiences, according to medical science, have reported passing through a cave with a bright light. In Jewish tradition, all bodies pass through the cave of the patriarchs, which is essentially a cave, as described in the Bible when Abraham seeks a burial place for his wife Sarah. It is written that Abraham chose this specific place and paid a fortune for it because it couldn't be any other place. Abraham already had the tradition that Adam and Eve were buried there, and this cave is the gateway for souls to transition from this world to the world to come. During our time in this world, the soul is completely connected to the body, and they work together. But how does the soul leave the body? At the moment of death, the soul encounters a fantastic light, a tremendous spiritual warmth, and an overwhelming love and goodness that it has never experienced before. This convinces the soul to detach from the body. It is written that righteous individuals in this world who have practiced kindness and avoided idolatry, among other things, are the ones who seek their Creator. When they definitively leave the body, they can approach this light, which is, in fact, a divine manifestation called Cherina. On the other hand, the wicked also perceive this light, this love, and this goodness when their souls depart from the body. However, they can no longer see this light because their journey now takes them along a different path. It is important to note that the soul initially does not want to leave the body, but it senses that it is going to a much better place where it feels a pleasure that cannot be described in this world. Medical books, including those written by atheist doctors, recount numerous cases of patients who experienced clinical death and were revived against all medical expectations. These patients often describe passing through a cave and encountering a light. Jewish tradition validates this experience, explaining that the light represents the divine presence that the soul perceives upon departure from the body. The eyes of the soul can see much more than they could in the physical world. In this world, we are unable to see the face of God and live, as Moses discovered when he asked God to show him his face. However, after leaving the physical world, the soul sheds the limitations of the body and gains an expanded capacity for knowledge of God. The soul experiences this expansion in a way that is beyond our understanding. In other words, there are no longer any limits for the soul, which was previously confined by time and space. It attains a higher level of knowledge of God and feels this expansion in an indescribable manner. Although humans cannot explain it, this is what is written. Another fascinating aspect is that according to sacred texts, when the soul departs from the body, it is received by those individuals it had a strong connection within this world. This can be explained in two ways. Firstly, relatives who have passed away meet and welcome the departing soul. Although they do not have physical bodies as we know them, they are recognizable. Secondly, the departing soul can clearly recognize the souls of those it loved and was connected to during its lifetime. This is similar to someone who has lived in the same house for 50 years and is familiar with every corner. They have a special affection for it and do not want to see their house destroyed. Similarly, the departing soul feels this affection for its body, which served as its home throughout the years. It is known that during the first 3 days after death, the soul is strongly connected to its body and the physical home where it resided. Therefore, it visits this home more intensively, and even up to 7 days after death, this connection continues. The soul sees its body, and moreover, it feels the pain of the body's decomposition. This pain is not physical but rather the pain of witnessing the destruction of its home. Just as Job explained, the soul feels the pain of the body's decay. Job mentioned that the soul experiences the pain of the body, but it is not physical pain. Instead, it is the pain of witnessing its home being destroyed. On the seventh day, the soul begins to detach itself, but this connection remains for the first 12 months. During this time, the soul undergoes further judgments, and its final destination is determined after 12 months. It is important to note that during these judgments, the soul is evaluated based on its legacy. If it left behind righteous children who follow the path of righteousness, the soul receives merits for that. Conversely, if the soul influenced its children and descendants to behave in a manner contrary to the will of God, it bears the responsibility and may descend to lower spiritual levels. This is why the soul is judged multiple times. Speaking of spiritual levels, it is crucial to understand that there are different levels and destinations for souls. One of these destinations is the inferno, where the soul undergoes a process of purification and repentance. This is not a physical fire, as commonly depicted, but rather a spiritual process involving a deep sense of shame and repentance for the wrongdoings committed during its lifetime. This process cleanses the soul of its sins. Another level is the realm of lost souls, referred to as chasa, which is for souls that became so materialistic and detached from spiritual pursuits that they lacked the spiritual fuel required for the purification process. These souls exist in a state of confusion, bouncing back and forth, experiencing a torment worse than the shame felt in the inferno. However, for those righteous individuals who have completed their judgment in the inferno and emerged cleansed, their souls ascend to the world of souls, also known as the world of Alma. Although the term paradise is not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, the concept of the world of souls corresponds to a place of immense pleasure, closeness to God, and spiritual elevation. It is important to note that this world of souls is not the final destination, as the Bible speaks of the resurrection of the dead. The souls will ultimately be reunited with their bodies, as mentioned in the book of Daniel. Some will rise to everlasting shame and others to everlasting splendor. The wise, who have followed the path of righteousness and experienced a profound connection to God, will have the opportunity to resplendently stand in the presence of the divine. It is crucial to understand the words of King Solomon, who advised us to keep our garments white, as we do not know when we will be called by the King. The white garments symbolize the state of our souls, free from sin and filled with righteous deeds. It is vital to consistently purify and elevate our souls to ensure their proximity to the divine. This emphasizes the importance of repentance and good deeds during our earthly journey, as they shape our spiritual fate after death. In conclusion, the journey of the soul after death is a complex and mystical process. It involves the soul's detachment from the body, encounters with divine light, judgment of actions, and the pursuit of spiritual elevation. The soul's connection to its physical home and loved ones gradually diminishes as it moves through various stages of judgment and purification. Ultimately, the destiny of the soul depends on its righteousness and the legacy it leaves behind. May we strive to purify our souls, live a life of goodness, and secure a place in the eternal presence of the divine. Now that we've explored the fascinating journey of the soul after death, we would love to hear your thoughts and reflections on this profound topic. Do you have any personal experiences or beliefs regarding the fate of the soul? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. As we continue on this amazing journey of exploration and spiritual growth, we invite you to join our community and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. By hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell, you'll stay updated with our latest videos, discussions, and insights. Remember, sharing is caring. If you found this video meaningful and enlightening, we encourage you to share it with your friends and family. Let's spread the knowledge and engage in meaningful conversations together. Thank you for being a part of our growing community. We value your presence and look forward to hearing your thoughts. Until our next video, may your souls be filled with peace, wisdom, and spiritual enlightenment.